Hey YouTube family and GN subs, what's happening? 2022, a lot of good stuff for you, good news, gonna keep it coming. Hey, for those of you who are new to the channel, what I do is I bring you good news, right? So starting, I believe it was March of 2020, if you look back at my videos, there's a lot of negativity in the world at that time. People were afraid, and what I did was, I brought good news, right? Omicron, 2 years later, still here, pandemic, bad news in the world. We're not going to have it here. I'm going to bring good news. I'm going to continue to bring good news until this pandemic is gone, until the virus is out of here. I'm going to keep giving you good news. So got a lot of good stuff to unpack starting January 2022. Lots of good stuff going on. Let's get at it. So most of you have been hearing filing fee substantial increase is going to be happening, okay? Now, the fees were supposed to have increased October of 2020, but the good news is that we've had litigation that's been slowing immigration down, so they can't increase the fees. But litigation comes to an end, folks. It's been a while. Come this October, it's going to be 2 years. So I believe soon the litigation is going to be over and these fees are going to increase. So if you have an application that hasn't been filed, file it, folks, because I'm telling you, the fees are going to increase substantially, right? Citizenship application, for example, is going to double from $725, to almost $1,500. So I think it's a good time now. Think about this stuff. Plan in the next several months. If you're going to file your case. All right, another bit of good news. Citizenship, folks. Look at these two cases in my office. I'm showing you the dates here. From the date of filing to the date of interview, 30 to 60 days. Generally, it's taking a year for citizenship to be adjudicated, but recently it's been fast, been very good. The swearing-in ceremonies after the interviews taking place within a week or two, all right? So, hey, that's good stuff. If you are thinking about filing for citizenship, file now. The adjudication period from date of filing to the date of the interview, substantially fast. So do it, folks. All right, here's another bit of good news, but you got to pay attention to this one. So flexibility in responding to requests for evidence, notice of intent to deny, etc. What I've done here for you in this video, let me outline exactly the responses, okay? So these are notice of intent to deny, notice of intent to terminate, etc. I list exactly what the flexibility is. So any of these notices that are issued between March of 2020, they've extended it now out to March of this year. So March of 2022, you have an additional 60 days from the due date on the decision. So look at the due date now. Sometimes they have different due dates on these notices, right? Sometimes they give you 30 days to respond. If that's the case, you have an additional 60 days after that due date. Sometimes they give you 120 days to respond. And it doesn't matter. If they give you 120 days, the due date is 4 months out, right? You look at the due date, you get an additional 60 days after that, all right? Now, here's the big change, right? The big change is on the appeals. Let's look at this, right? So for appeals, I-290 and N-336. The N-336 is an appeal from citizenship, and the I-290 appeals from other petitions. Prior to this change, you had 60 days from the date the decision was issued, right? Normally, you have 30 days from the date of the decision. You had 60 days. Now you have 90 days. So they're giving more time. That's great news, folks. So now you have 90 days, which is good because sometimes these appeals, man, I mean, I have to do a lot of research on these. I have to write a detailed brief to go with the actual appeal. It takes time. So they're giving us additional time. Now, one caveat is you have to look at when the decision was issued. This only applies to decisions that were issued between November of 2021 and then March, right? So they're going to extend it out to March of 2022, but there is an initial date of November of 2021. Before November 2021, if a decision was issued, well, you already should have appealed, right? If it was October, you had 30 days plus another 60 days. So, I mean, basically, there may be a few of those still left, but note the new flexibility rules. Pretty cool stuff. All right, this is an interesting case, right? I've been practicing law for a very long time, and I haven't seen this one before. Here, I'm going to show you. This is an I-130 petition, and it was approved, okay? Now, usually when you file an I-130 petition, you indicate on the I-130 form if you want to adjust in the United States or if you want to process overseas at the U.S. consulates, okay? So if on the form you put you want to adjust in the United States, then it's approved. And then when you're ready to adjust, it doesn't matter. You have no limitation. You could wait years later and still adjust. The petition will still be good. If you indicate that you want to process overseas, then it goes to the NVC, and you must act on this petition within a year, or they will start what's called the termination process, okay? And you can actually lose a petition. So let's say you have an I-130 petition through brother or sister, you've been waiting for, let's say, 7 or 8 years, and you forget about this case, and you don't act on it within a year, they can cancel it, and you lose all of that time. So this is really important. Look at this. What they did in this case is they made it, so I always typically request that we're going to adjust in the US. I always do that because I don't want any limitations on my petitions. Well, look at the language here. It says that they looked at my client's case and my client may not be able to adjust in the US. So they're sending the case to the MVC. I've never seen that before, folks. So when I request adjustment and they send it to the MVC won't contact you until you put your G28 in. So it could be years down the line. You have to double check on those cases so they're not terminated. All right. So, hey, that's a good heads up. Check your I-130 petitions. Make sure, that you're following up with MVC so they're not canceled. This is something looks like new that they're doing. So, boy, you gotta be up to date on this stuff. You gotta see what's happening. Can't let them take advantage of you. Another bit of good news. Remember when I predicted that AILA litigation will be successful in 2022? Well, hey, we got a good case that just came down January 5th, 2022. DHS drops its appeal in connection with the EB-5 program litigation, Regional Center LLC versus Mayorkas. The government caved. I told you they'd cave. So this is the case in the EB-5 program where they are trying to increase the amount of investment in the EB-5 space from $500,000 to $900,000. On a normal case, it's going to be $1 million versus $1.8 million. Well, the government caved. So any case that's filed before June of 2021, the investment amount will remain the same at $500,000 and $1 million. That's great news, guys. Hey, thanks, GrayLaw family, YouTube subs. Hey, let's increase this subscribership. Let's have you share my channel. Share it with others. Let's blow this up, okay? Let's go for 2022. I'm going to keep bringing you good news. Those of you who are new to the channel, remember, please like and subscribe and go to the playlist. I got some good content there. It's broken down for you. Very easy, great videos. You can learn a lot. You can learn a ton. The content is increasing and I'm going to keep doing that for you guys. All right, we'll see you next time.